In today's video, I'm going to give you my 8-week post-rotator cuff surgery update. Hey everyone, this is Lisa. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Lisa Monique. It's normally a beauty and lifestyle channel, but I had rotator cuff surgery. I know a lot of people when they get into their 50s, 60s, and beyond start having more trouble with their shoulders and are looking at surgery. So I just kind of wanted to do updates on how my surgery went and what I'm thinking about it. So I had a full tear supraspinatus. Am I saying that right? Yeah, full tear on that tendon. They had to move my bicep. I had, I don't know if it was a bulge or a giant spur that they had to shave off. They cleaned out some other arthritic looking, issues, to smooth everything out so that I would have a smooth area for my rotator cuff tendons to move through. And I also had extreme frozen shoulder. So my shoulder froze before my surgery. So they started me on PT day 2 in order for my shoulder not to get any worse and also to start breaking up the encapsulation and encouraging more range of motion early on with my shoulder. So everybody's shoulder repair is different. This is just going to be my story and my recovery. So make sure you check with your doctor and your physical therapist if you are wondering about anything that I'm talking about now. So I was one of the lucky ones that actually had very little pain after my surgery. Now, pre-surgery, 7 months, culminating into some of the worst pain. I could not lift my arm out. I couldn't reach out the window to take a ticket, if you're going parking or a toll. It was so painful. But now the pain is gone. And after my surgery, I had very little what I would call surgical pain. The first day or two, I kept it on ice. I took Percocet for one day, and then I was just taking Motrin at night, and that's all I needed. So very achy at night. I couldn't necessarily say it was like pain, like a sharp pain, but it was achy, and it did keep me up. Sometime between the 6 and 8 weeks, around the 7-week point, I actually slept a couple of times at night without my sling. I did have my sling off at 6.5 week point. Actually, I didn't go to my doctor till my 7-week appointment, but my physical therapist said I could start taking it off at 6 weeks, wearing it outdoors, and not lifting anything heavier than a cup of coffee because of my bicep repair. So between that 7 and 8 week, I started having nights that I was sleeping, that I was even shifting at night and not even noticing my shoulder. Now, I'm still not sleeping on my left side, my left arm is my dominant arm. I'm still not sleeping on my left side, which is my normal side, but I have been able to shift, reach for a pillow, kind of move it around comfortably. So that was really big. Other things that I could do comfortably now, sometime between the 7th and 8th week, this is kind of when it all changed. I can stand upright and wash my hair. I'm not kind of like doing this kind of lean with my arm down. I can put my hair in a ponytail. Still not quite centered. I'm slightly, to the left, but I think by the end of this week, maybe if I did some stretching, I could get it right in the center. At my 6-week point, when I raised my arm, I think I was about here. It felt like I was going all the way, but I wasn't. Now I can raise it up, to about here. I am noticing, I don't know, you can't see with this shirt, but this shoulder, this muscle right here seems a lot bigger. I think, I've done a lot of shrugs, even with my PT. I feel like I'm not keeping that shoulder down enough. But I've got, good range of motion. And I feel like my day-to-day activities are somewhat back to normal. I'm not lifting anything, so I'm still being very careful about that, but I can put on my makeup, brush my teeth, put my contacts in and out with my left hand with no problems or issues at all. Now you might have noticed I have a compression brace on because at my 6-week point, I was traveling and I knew I could go without the sling, but I brought it because I was traveling, but I did not bring the abduction pillow. And we were sightseeing and everything that first couple of days. And after about 2 or 3 days, I noticed that my elbow just started feeling a little funky when I was like resting it on a table. So I was like feeling it and it was like a little golf ball. So I have bursitis on the elbow. I think I had the bursitis. I think I had it from, I fell playing pickleball in January. I think it's one of the things that probably partially tore my rotator cuff, even though the weight of the fall, it was all on my elbow and my hip. But it always kind of just felt like a bone bruise. That's what I always called it. I have like a bone bruise in my elbow. It didn't hurt when I moved it, but I could sometimes just press it and feel the bone bruise. So after the surgery, I kept saying, you know, I don't feel anything here, but sometimes I feel, when I wake up in the morning, I feel, you know, aches and pain in my elbow. And when I would move my hands or my fingers back, I would feel it here. And so my physical therapist said, yeah, it's probably a little bit of bursitis. Well, it flared up. And so what I'm doing now, it's not to the point that it's painful or causing numbness or anything like that, but I am icing it several times a day. I'm wearing a compression brace. I don't wear it all the time because it just starts bothering me. But I wear it, you know, several hours a day. I am going to lunch. I will wear it when I'm going out to lunch. When I'm just sitting around at home and not, you know, doing a lot of movement and everything, sometimes I'll take it off and I don't sleep with it. But yeah, so this bursitis, they say, can take, you know, a couple of weeks for it to go back down. So, yeah, that's what I'm dealing with, and that's why I'm wearing this brace. But other than that, I've been moved to phase 2 of my physical therapy, which is a little more aggressive stretching, but it's still no weight bearing. Again, with the bicep, you know, they're very concerned about, you know, me tearing the bicep out. So I'm really cautious, trying not to lift anything heavier than a coffee cup. Now, I was carrying my computer or my laptop the other day. I mean, I was supporting half the weight against my body, but I do really try and make that cautious effort not to do anything here. Now, when I feel little tweaks and whatever, sometimes I feel it down here. So then I'm like, oh, did I lift anything? And usually I hadn't. So it's kind of strange how everything just moves around. I also have been complaining about the tweak and pain here, which is where the bicep attaches. And so I was cautious about doing things. Like anytime I felt that tweak, I'd like stop whatever I was doing, even if it was stretches. And I talked to both my physical therapist and my doctor and a friend who was a orthopedic nurse. I can't remember exactly what she did, but you know, they talked about how chances are it's just that stretching. It could be the encapsulation that's still in there getting, you know, pushed around. So nobody thought that I was actually damaging or pulling out my bicep repair. So I stopped babying it so much, and it definitely doesn't tweak as much. But with this more aggressive physical therapy, and I'm stretching all the time, I'm, you know, doing this, laying down, relaxing, letting the weight of my arm just kind of pull it back to the head. Sometimes I try and do it this way, pulling it back. I lay on the bed face down, and I lift my arm this way. I do the kind of the row, and then I'm trying to lift it straight out, which was really hard for me to do, but I feel now that I can get it, I can lift it pretty fast. I mean, this one doesn't go much higher than that. So I really feel like my range of motion is increasing, but like I said, it's not complete. I mean, there are still areas, you know, that I can't do. Oh, the one that's the hardest for me to do is lay on my back, and I have a little pillow under here, and it's kind of like making the W. So if I'm laying on my back and this arm is just flat against the bed, this one is not. It's like, I don't know, it's still 45, 50, 60 degrees from being flat. And so he told me to, just hold a 2-pound weight if I can, or maybe a can of soup. I actually only have a 3-pound weight. So I've been doing the 3-pound weight, and you just kind of rest and let it pull your arm back. I can't do it a full 2 minutes with the 3 pounds. So I do it for like 20, 30 seconds, and then I support it and bring it up and rest, and then I do it again. And then at the same time, or on the same token, I'm not sure I understand. I also go up on my side, and my arms like this, and I kind of bend it down, not straight down, but in more towards the my belly button. And I just use my hand as a brace. So basically, it's almost like you're doing the arm wrestling, and I'm just kind of twisting it down like this. And I can go farther down that way, but that motion is definitely the motion where I'm having the least range of motion. So I'm trying to make sure I do those stretches twice a day. And at night, my shoulder has been doing weird things again after I started this more aggressive PT. I even tried to take Motrin once to see if it would reduce the swelling on my elbow. And that night, it was almost the worst night for, I don't know, it's not just tweaking, but I could tell in my mind, I could almost feel my tendons healing and everything from all the stretching I was doing that day. And then the next day, whatever was a hard stretch then became an easy stretch, and I could push it just a little bit more. So I feel like, my body was, increasing the length of those tendons while I was sleeping, but I could feel it. And so definitely got a little bit more achy the last couple of nights when I started doing the more aggressive stretching. But all of it is to the point of stretch, and then maybe just a few degrees more. I mean, I'm not really trying to force anything. I'm still being very cautious, but I'll take it till it stops and then try and, take it 3 to 5 degrees farther and see how that works and hold it there. So I'm very excited about my recovery right now. I'm feeling really good at this 8-week point. I still have 2 or 3 more weeks before I go back to the doctor, and then we might start adding strength training. But I'll just keep with these range of motion exercises, and hopefully get it back to normal, really soon. So I'm also going to try and work on my posture and not that hunching, because I really feel when I'm looking in a mirror and I'm raising my arms, like I can see the hump up here where I'm not just taking it from the shoulder, shrugging and taking it, like lifting that whole muscle as opposed to just moving the shoulder and the socket. So I'm working on that too. But that's it. That's where I am right now, week 8. And I hope this update kind of helps you, especially if you're wondering, when can I do this again and when can I do that again? For me, by the 8-week point, I could do most of my personal care. Still can't fasten a bra behind my back. That one's really, I can barely put my arm on my butt in the back. That's one that they haven't told me in PT to start stretching that area, so I really haven't yet, but that's pretty much the only thing that I feel like I can't do at this point. So I hope you enjoyed this update. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.